Hello, it's Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian here, reporting from the Locarno Film Festival at the shore of Lake Maggiore, where the water has been, frankly, bracing. And I've had a message from a reader, Trev69, who asks, what Swiss canton is that in? It's in Ticino, Trev, you grotesque ignoramus. Luca Bellino and Silvia Luzzi's Luce is an intriguing, perplexing piece of work. It's opaque and indirect. The storytelling appears incomplete and recedes implacably before the audience's pursuit. It's a kind of cinema which does not render up its meaning right away, or at all. The keynote of extreme close-up on the lead character's face is in implied contrast to the hazy distance where the film's significance is perhaps sighted. A young woman played by Mariana Fontana lives in a tough Italian town on the coast, miserably working in a leather garment factory with a whole group of women, their job being to stake and stretch out pieces of leather on an automated production line. The person in charge is a man. He sometimes hands out punishment by making certain workers go upstairs to work on the drum, where you have to heave out great mounds of leather pelt to be transported down onto the factory floor. One day this young woman is with her auntie in a big family group celebrating a cousin who has just made her first Holy Communion in a white quasi-bridal gown. She grumbles about her own communion, about the awful shoes she had to wear, and about a certain someone who was there, a someone in her life, but not anymore. The young photographer/videographer, who has been wowing the people there with his fancy new high-tech drone for getting overhead shots, appears to have a bit of a crush on our heroine. Later, this young man will take her for a drive, where he will show her how the drone works, how it can effectively spy on people, but the exact nature of her fascination with it isn't really clear. What is clear is that the whole experience seems to have triggered something like a breakdown in her, or perhaps an epiphany involving hallucinations, or access to a kind of alternative reality in her head. She keeps getting weird phone calls. An older man's voice is on the line. Is that her dad? Is it a friend of her dad? As these conversations continue, she settles into a certainty that it is, in fact, her father. Has she contrived and imagined this situation? She herself invents things in her life for his benefit, but is this whole thing maybe an invention, including a handsome young Milanese fashion designer who has supposedly been hitting on her? We are heading to a kind of climax, though an enigmatic one, when the photographer presents to the extended family his final edit of the Holy Communion video. The dissociative strangeness seems complete. Luce reads like a lucid dream, or remembered dream. For me, a puzzle about how we see ourselves or invent ourselves. One of the most delectable aspects of this year's Locarno is the Columbia Studios Centenary Celebration Retrospective, a string of classic movies on the big screen, and an entirely hilarious example is The Whole Town's Talking from 1935, directed by John Ford and written by Joe Swirling and Robert Riskin, and starring Edward G. Robinson as notorious escaped mobster Killer Mannion, and also his doppelganger, a timid, mousy bank clerk called Jones, who is secretly in love with a tough, fast-talking woman in his office, gloriously played by Jean Arthur.
I'm not into anybody, Sam. Now, that's my idea of a boyfriend. He-Man plus. I only knew where he was. Sam, get a load of this. Look, who is this?
Killer Mannion.
I know, but who else?
What do you mean, who else?
Look.
Well, what do you know about that? Here, Charlie, come here. Here, Charlie. look at this. Did you get it? Say, that's right. Come on, boys, girls, come on. Stick 'em up. Hello, Killer. Who you figured on rubbing out today, big boy? Hey, Killer, how fast was doing your
Yeah, run around and hold the legs.
Hey, I wish
you'd leave me alone. I'm way behind on the Macaron Jack McIntyre account, please.
Sorry, killer, we didn't mean any harm. Your aces with us, Chief. Say, there's a couple of guys we'd like snuffed out.
The gangster doppelganger idea was later taken up by Greek New Wave filmmaker Nikos Kondouros in his film The Dragon. But really, the whole town's talking is one of a kind. It's streaming for free on YouTube, but if you can get to see it on the big screen at this retrospective, that's even better. That's it from Locarno from me. Please give this vlog a like and a share. Please subscribe and leave a comment. And please buy my book, The Body in the Mobile Library and Other Stories, from which I will be reading next Wednesday, August the 14th, at the Edinburgh International Book Festival. See you then.